What's up, guys? Welcome back to ViewerCast. Today we're going to start off with troedl. Castle levels of 19, so I'll jump into it. Let's see what he's got. Alright.
You're going to be far poorer.
Alright, so we have some jelly walls. I am going to be able to slide on this side of the jelly wall, because it's not quite, against the wall, and I accidentally hit this, but I can kind of get around it this way, and kind of use this as a little bit of a maze. So, I mean, the first part of this castle, unless it's, designed to make it so that I can't backtrack here, which does seem to work a little bit. I mean, some people are going to have to kite this because they won't have enough DPS to kill it. Also, the Jimbo is being shielded, so that helps you. For some reason, he stayed shielded really far away. It seems like when he's dodging traps, maybe he goes into shield mode. That might be a little bit of a bug, but I don't know. But yeah, you might have to run away from the Jimbo and the Pete Pound more there. So I could see having people having to backtrack through that might make them a little bit annoyed, but at least starting off, you can kind of just maneuver through that jelly wall spike trap, and then this jelly wall as well, without even really getting hit by it, which isn't ideal. Maybe you can, switch the positioning of that a little bit to make it a little bit more effective. Alright, and then we have the boss room, and it looks like it's more of a, everything in the boss room. There's not really any trap pressure in here, so I'm pretty happy to fight inside of this room. It doesn't really work anymore. Like this type of setup where everything is kind of just scattered into the boss room, I think it's pretty bad now. Because of the caps on how much can actually aggro. You can just attack things for free almost. I don't know. There isn't really a 40-point group that I feel like can kill you. I guess it's 60 points inside of the boss room or something. But I don't think there's a group that's that big without trap pressure that can actually kill you. Maybe if you had good trap pressure everywhere, but even then I usually tend to run to the end of the castle. I've been doing that more and more as I've been attacking people. I just kind of kite their entire castle, run to the back of the castle right in here, and just sort of kill it all. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is sometimes hard because you have basically this small square to work in, and you have to kill like an entire castle. It depends on the castle as well. If I see someone who's using a lot of traps and like is really trap heavy, I'm more inclined to go to the end. Whereas if I see people who have a lot of groups in their castle and there's not nearly as much trap pressure, I'll fight it as I'm going through. It really depends on castle to castle. And I might do like an attacking video coming up in the next couple of days. To kind of hopefully help people that might be still struggling attacking wise. I don't know how you guys are doing attacking. I've been doing quite well. Sometimes I do lose, like generally the fire trap setups, it's kind of hit or miss if I actually get through them or I don't. And I usually have to retry a couple castles sometimes, 3 or 4 times before I actually get past it, and then it's pretty easy from there. But yeah, we'll jump to number 2 in just a second.
Go ahead. Try me.
Alright, next up we have Hillmor, castle levels 17. So let's take a look at it.
Hope you don't mind a little friendly visit.
Alright, so this whole setup in here, like, if you use something that's either a little bit more narrow so that these spike traps work really well, there's one room that comes to mind, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's basically, it's got like a flat line on the bottom and then it goes up into kind of a bigger room, and that flat line, I believe spike traps by itself will fill the entire hallway, because it's too easy for me to dodge around this. And yes, you have a fire mine here, but if I just cut back inside, I'm not going to really take any damage whatsoever. And then since these guys are kind of lined up like this, if you have a ballista, you can just shoot them down pretty easily. I could have even, if they were a little bit higher level and I wasn't able to like two-shot them, I would have attacked once, got closer, did this to stun them, and then finished them off from there after they got stunned. Or drop a volley even if I had to. Having 2 Zeeks out in the open like that. I'm gonna die here, aren't I? No. It's too low level. I was trying to kite the trap like that, but I accidentally stood on it too long. Either way, I think the beginning of that, maybe you could put the Zeeks, I don't know, around a corner with a Snotter aggroing them or something like that, but having them out in the open like that, archers and Zeeks in general, they're too weak to just leave out in the open. Like, I mean, these guys, I can just volley on top of them. Also, one thing to note is that these rotating fire traps really mess with the AI of creatures right now. Like, you saw that there was 3 of your smelly warriors just kind of stuck on this trap, and they were just slowly taking damage from the trap. I don't like using creatures around these rotating fire traps. I'd much rather use ballista traps if I'm doing that. Same thing here, like spike traps, you want to have as much of it exposed as possible. You want to have them to travel over the entirety of the spike trap, either from the bottom going all the way across, or from this side going all the way to here. If I can just kind of run over this area, I can just easily run over this anytime the panels deactivate, and I'll get over it without taking any damage. So if you could push these down into the hallway more, it would be a little bit more effective in terms of people taking damage. Although they're not that great until you get the 3 active panels, which is at level 24, I believe. I haven't really used spike traps up until that point. I think I have 1 of them in my castle, although I just hit level 24, so I'm planning on redesigning my entire castle pretty soon. Probably later tonight. I might even be doing like a castle rebuilding series, something that I used to do before open beta, instead of just a straight defense guide, and then we'll do a replay follow-up. I like to do those quite a bit. Kind of lets people see, you know, firsthand what the castle building process is like for me. Generally, you know, I usually decide the rooms first, so I can actually not spend a ton of time, you know, sitting there looking at rooms. It's usually like a couple-hour process, but either way, we'll jump into number 3 in just a second.
Another successful job.
Alright, and lastly we have Vynas, castle levels of 20. So let's take a look at what he's got here.
Let's go to work.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I was talking about with the spike traps, is you want to have them so that you have to travel over them as much as possible. Although I think the one in this corner up here is quite ineffective. I would kind of remove this, and if you wanted to place in another trap, maybe another ballista or something. But, you know, I can start by stepping right onto this one. Like, I never even have to touch this one, so I doubt anyone's really going to take damage from that. But again, only having the 2 active panels isn't nearly as effective as the ones that have 3 active panels, so... And it looks like you probably have... Okay, it's a silence trap, never mind. I was going to say it might have been a rotating cannon trap, because it looked like the AI was bugging out. Silence traps will do it as well, but at least they won't take damage while they're kind of just running in place. The problem is, any of these AoE type traps, if your creatures are placed inside of where their AoE will go off, it'll bug their AI and they'll kind of move out of the way and try to like get kind of stuck, trying to move away from this AoE bubble. That's something that you just have to kind of think about. I believe that's actually the reason one of my pulls wasn't working properly, is I actually had one of these bubbles that was making one of my snotters move out of the aggro line of sight kind of thing. So when I attacked the snotter, it wouldn't actually aggro what he was supposed to aggro, because he moved out of the way of it. Alright, so if you go the long way around this way, you don't take any damage from this. If you go the short way, which most people will do, there's a springboard trap right here. And if people miss it, they'll probably take a little bit of extra damage from all the ballistas. But I think that chance of that happening is kind of, like, low. Generally, you want to force things to happen more often than just, like, hoping that they step on this. It looks like that throws you back this way to probably around here, so you'll get hit by, like, 4 ballista shots, which is a good amount of damage. But I'm wondering if you could maybe force it somehow a little bit more. Even putting another springboard trap on the bottom might help, or, I don't know, maybe if you had like a Cyclops right here to push you back into this room. Anything like that might work pretty well. Alright, so it looks like I aggroed a bunch, so I'm just going to aggro the entire castle now. There shouldn't be enough left where it can kill me. And this is kind of how I generally attack anyway, because I just go to the end here, and, you know, I'll wait for everything to group up a little bit, drop a volley. That alone will kill mostly everything. Usually it kills off like the archers and the Zeeks, unless there's a good placed Defendatron, in which case it won't really do much of any damage. I'll have to dodge archer shots for a little while, start to work on the boss, wait for the Defendatron to get a little bit closer to me so he's out of range of the archers, then I drop another volley, and that usually kills off everything. At least the archers. I guess you can really only do that if you have enough DPS to actually one-shot volley most archers and Zeeks. Usually Zeeks take a volley and a shot, one shot from me, sometimes two. And if you can do that, you should be okay to pull most of a castle as long as there's a decent number of traps inside of the castle like beforehand. But yeah, pretty good castle. This was number 3, so we're going to end the video here. As always, if you guys enjoy what I do, please subscribe. If you want to be part of ViewCast, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. There's also a link in the description to a spreadsheet, although that spreadsheet is a little bit messy right now because I've been skipping a few names that I either can't do their castle, or for castles that are like level 14 or 15, I just kind of sit there and wait for them to get up to level 16 before I run them. But I'm going to try to work on that and make it a little less messy, and I've been running a bunch of castles either way. I've ran a ton of them, so it'll get a lot less messy soon. But yeah, we're going to end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.